It's a busy Tuesday. We have retirement news to pass along your way. We'll hear from the head man of Cobbers football as they get ready to make history this year. And we'll also meet one of the greatest throwers in UND history. A lot to get to. Hot Mic starts right now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota. Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to this It's Finally Sunny Outside edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV for everybody in Sioux Falls, KNBN for everybody in Rapid City, also streaming on Inform.com, WDAY Plus as well. Welcome. Let's continue to rock and roll. It is the 10th day of what month is it? June already? Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. No, I am not Dom Izzo. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom today. He should be back here tomorrow. Had some things pop up, so he's over there with that. He should be back, and then we'll continue on. It's going to be a great day today. Looking forward to this. Last time you saw me, I believe I was stuck in an elevator last Thursday. As you can tell, I'm out. I survived. I'm good to go. Happy to be back in the big chair here. Looking forward to today. Of course, as I mentioned, a lot to touch on. Cobber football going to make history. The news came down yesterday that they're going to have their first ever game under the lights at the Jake. So we'll have their head coach, Terry Horan, on later on this morning in actually just a couple of minutes here to talk about that big news coming out of Copper football. So looking forward to that. I should also call this a retirement edition of Hot Mic on this Tuesday morning. A couple of big retirement announcements that we're going to talk about today. One of them coming from a Bison great, and I saw this scrolling across X yesterday and stumbled across the page of Spencer Waege, an all-time great at North Dakota State University. He's announced that he is retiring. He's done with the game of football. We'll have him on later on this morning to chat about that decision as well. Also a big retirement in the world of hockey that we'll touch on later on today, too. And you've heard it the last couple of weeks. I've been getting into my track and field game. I'm loving it. I'm loving what I'm seeing. NCAA's national championships coming up in just a couple of days here, right around the corner, actually. And we're going to hear from Kenna Curry a little bit later on and chat about her getting ready for the national championships in Eugene, Oregon. So looking forward to that as well. It's a packed show here today. Of course, we're going to talk Stanley Cup hockey in just a little bit. We're about a couple of days removed from the big House settlement news, the settlement being settled over the weekend, and I'm not gonna touch on it a ton today. If we have time later on the show, I will get into it. If you're curious on learning more about that, if you didn't take the time yesterday or if you didn't catch the show yesterday, I strongly encourage going back and watching that. It's available on WDAY Plus or Inform.com. Dom, Sam Herder, Jeff Kolpak did a fantastic job breaking down the House settlement and what that means for college athletics, and then what that could mean for, our region, the NDSUs, the USDs, the SDSUs, the UNDs. They did a great job breaking that down. And I will be honest, and they mentioned it yesterday, there's a lot of people that either didn't care or it was sky high over the head. And it was sky high over the head for me. I tried reading everything that I could. I tried listening to everything that I could. There was just some things that don't understand what's going on. But luckily, I have a better grasp on that too, and I know that's the case for a lot of people out there as well. The poll question yesterday was at 70%, what it wrapped up the day as, of people who didn't know what was going on with this house settlement. So, I encourage you to watch that show from yesterday. But there is some news that has happened over the last day with that we'll touch on later on in the show. Of course, the big question now is all eyes are onto the deadline of Sunday because that is the opt-in deadline. So we'll see. Will NDSU pop in? Will UND, SDSU, USD, the Montana schools already have? Will the others follow suit? Who knows? We'll dive into that a little bit later on here on this Tuesday morning. Okay, what I do know is hockey and the Stanley Cup Finals back in action last night. Of course, Game 3 in Florida. Raucous crowd. It's Florida and Edmonton. And a recap, if you haven't been following along, what a series this has been. Game 1, overtime. Game 2, double OT win. So that brings us into Game 3. The series tied at 1 apiece, I should mention. Florida coming off of the double overtime winner. And we go to the highlights here. In the opening minute, it's the veteran legend, Brad Marchand, corralling the puck through all of that traffic in front, somehow gets it into the back of the net. That's a 1-0 lead for Florida 56 seconds into the game. That is the fastest goal in Stanley Cup final history for the Florida Panthers, and that is the 4th goal of the series for Brad Marchand. They would pack on another one here, Carter Verhaeghe, to make it 2-0. And as I mentioned, we've had a couple of overtime games to start this series. This was nothing like that. This was an absolute beatdown. You see Marchand there use your head. Florida was on the power play there. Now the Oilers on the power play here, and that's Corey Perry finding the back of the net to give some life for Edmonton. And if I were him, I would go right to the Florida bench and say, hey, use your head. We shouldn't be on the power play this much here in this game. So it's 2-1 as we go into the second. Florida would pop another one up on the board to make it a 3-1 game. Another quick shot over the top of the goaltender, Stuart Skinner. He would get the bounce after all that was down. This was a very physical Game 3 as well. A couple of collisions along the wall, and then eventually Sam Bennett will come free. It's a 2-on-0 for the Panthers, and this is just fantastic hockey. Forehand, backhand, forehand, pot it in the back of the net. You see Bennett there laying the wood, and then gets the puck back to give Florida back on the board. Another one there. That would make it, I believe, 4-1 game at that point. Yep, as we continue on to the second. Scary point here for Edmonton fans. Connor McDavid going down after taking a bump at the blue line. Didn't look like the most dangerous hit in the world, but he would take that collision, eventually leave the game for a little bit. Luckily, he would return later in the third period, and all that contact would eventually lead to this line fight, anarchy. Somebody punched somebody. That was a pretty cool scene. There was fights during the middle of the game, during the late end of the game, after the game was done. Eventually, the Panthers would hold on and get the win 6-1 over the Edmonton Oilers, unlike any other game in this series so far. So the Panthers take a 2-1 series lead. Again, Stuart Skinner for the Edmonton Oilers. He would get popped out of the game. Stopped 18 of 23, but it just wasn't enough. Sergei Bobrovsky had a fantastic game, stopping 32 of 33. A lot of players for Florida had multiple point games. Carter Verhaeghe was one of them. Evan Rodriguez had 2 points. Sam Reinert had 2 points. And Sam Bennett had 2 points. He had a goal in there as well. So, fun game. Fun game to watch. Physical game. You love to see some fights. That's why you watch playoff hockey. So we'll see if that carries over into the rest of the series. And, of course, the series coming up looks as follows here. We'll have Game 4 on Thursday, and that will be back in Florida. And after that, they have a rather quick turnaround. They'll be back in action on Saturday at home for the Edmonton Oilers back in Canada. And then, so let me see, I'm losing track here. So then that would be Game 4, Game 5, Game 6 is back in Florida next Tuesday. So, the big one to note, Thursday, June 12th, is the next one, Game 5. and Florida, 2-game-to-1 lead, 2 games to 1 lead over the Edmonton Oilers. So looking forward to see how that one goes. Of course, NBA Finals. We did not have that Game 3 last night. We will not have that Game 3 tonight. They actually have the luxury of having some time off. So they're back in action tomorrow for Game 3 between the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That series tied at 1 apiece. 7:30 start time on Wednesday. And then their next game is on Friday for Game 4 of that series. Still in Indiana. 7:30 once again. 7:30 the rest of the way. And the good news is you can catch most of these on, or all of these, I should say, on ABC, which means you can get it right here on WDAY as well. So there's an update on what's going on in the finals as well. Of course, Indiana, Oklahoma City, it's been a fun finals. Series tied at 1-1. Florida getting the win yesterday, 6-1, putting the beat down on Edmonton. And we'll have to see if Connor McDavid will be his usual self, because he was dominant the first 2 games of the series so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll see how that goes. I know we're going to touch about this as the week goes on and as we go through on the series as well. All right, let's continue to set up the show here as we get ready for our first break on this Tuesday morning. A look at the lineup of guests today, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. I mentioned we'll have Terry Horan on, the head football coach of the Concordia Coppers, on here in just a couple of minutes. Exciting news from them. They have a night game coming in their season opener. We'll chat about that, and also we'll chat about the offseason here for Concordia football as well. Coming up at 9:35, Spencer Waege will join us. He announced his retirement. We'll reflect back on a really successful career that he has had, not just at NDSU, but at the professional level as well. And then at the top of the hour, at 10 o'clock to start our second hour of the show, Kenna Curry will join us. She is out in Eugene, Oregon, getting ready for the national championships. One of the greatest throwers in UND history. So we will get Kenna Curry on the show later on this morning. Looking forward to that. A lot to get to. Let's pause for the first time on this Tuesday morning. Terry Horan joins us next on Hot Mic. Welcome back on this Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and also Inform.com streaming over there. During the commercial break, you can kind of see it here. I'll hold it up. I made an adjustment in our helmet lineup here on the front of the desk. This is the Concordia Coppers helmet, and it is also the new bat symbol for our next guest here on this Tuesday morning. Terry Horan joining us, the head coach of the Concordia Coppers football team. Coach, thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. I love the helmet, by the way. I think it's one of my favorite ones out there right now. I got to ask you, I was doing the math yesterday, 88 days until the start of the football season. Can you believe that? September 6th is right around the corner.
Right around the corner. In fact, the countdown clock says 87 days, 21 hours, 43 minutes, and 51 seconds to kick off. Let's go.
You got that all lined up there then in the office then. I just can't believe it's almost there. We'll talk about the summer here in just a little bit. Got you on the show this morning. Of course, we've been talking about it. You've been talking about it on this show as well. Cooper Mattern has come on here and mentioned it. But the big news that happened just the other day, there's going to be a game under the lights at the Jake in the season opener on September 6th against Mayville State. Give us your reaction to that. We saw that. I think Dom almost jumped out of his shoes when he heard that the other day.
Well, we're obviously really, really excited, and when we were able and fortunate to get the lights put up last year, and we actually practiced in the morning, so we were using the lights, and then we just decided, let's see if we can try to get a night game, and obviously Rocky Larson at Mayville State was all for it as well, and the kids are excited. I can tell you that. Brings them back to those Friday night lights, and we've obviously never had that happen here at Concordia. So history in the making.
So you mentioned there it's a mutual want to have this night game between Concordia and Mayville State. How long has this been in the works to have something like this?
Well, we were looking for a single-year contract game, and because we signed a 2-year contract with Nebraska Wesleyan out of Lincoln for 26-27. So I kind of just shopped around the area, and Rocky said, "Hey, we have an opening that day too, and we'd come to you." And I said, "Well, what do you think about us doing this under the lights?" And he goes, "Even better." So he's all for it, and yeah, we're excited. It's been a great relationship between the two of us. He's done a great job at Mayville State, and kind of, we got that program back going here again. And so, yeah, it'll be an exciting one. And I know, again, our staff, our kids, our college, we're all looking forward to it. The annual corn feed has now been moved to the Corn Fest, and that is going to be on the day of the game.
Oh, that is awesome. Nice.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of festivities happening around our campus community that day for sure.
Oh, I love that. I love the Corn Fest. I've been going to it every year since I've been up here. It's really cool over there. And I heard that the night game's a whiteout as well. I imagine you've heard from your players. What have they said? Because I'm sure they're used to the Friday night lights, and then they had to get used to the Saturday afternoon games. But I imagine they're over the moon to get back under the lights.
They're extremely jacked, absolutely, and the fact to have it a whiteout, and we just we designed a T-shirt up, and we've put that out on the social media front. You probably saw that, and the guys are excited, and there's nothing like Friday Night Lights in their minds, and well, we're going to give them a little taste of that.
That's fantastic to hear. You mentioned it on the show, I believe, about a year ago, but just to explain for someone who may not know and may be wondering, why can't you have more night games? It's not that simple to just have a night game every single week. Is that right? Can you explain that process?
Right, and it's kind of has to be a little mutual agreement, but the MIAC has a rule that we play all afternoon games unless it's talked about between the two institutions, and really the rule came into effect because of us with all of our travel. And coming down to the cities and Collegeville and St. Peter and Northfield. And so, yeah, we have all 1:00 starts, and unless we get to the daylight savings time, we did last year, we moved it till noon, but people with lights can still keep it at 1. And so, yeah, it's not an easy thing. And we only have one non-conference game from now on. So the rest of our season will be all conference games.
All right. Well, looking forward to watching that first game. We'll see how it all goes, and of course the Corn Fest in there as well. I want to chat about your football team a little bit here while we have you for a couple of minutes. Give us the thoughts after last season as you go into the off season here. Finished 7-3, one of the best seasons since 2017. What do you take away from last year?
Well, we had some really good senior leadership, that's for sure. And, a 3-year starter and a young man you mentioned already, Cooper Mattern at quarterback. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to replace those kind of guys. I mean, we had 28 seniors, and 6 of which were COVID guys that had an extra year of eligibility. So, that doesn't happen all the time for us, and it won't happen anymore where the COVIDs are all gone now. So it's back to no red shirts in 4 years. And, but after spring ball, looking at things, we're going to be young, and we're going to be, obviously young in a lot of different spots, but we're excited about the guys that are returning, and we're really excited about our incoming class. We have 62 new incoming Cobbers coming in, and on August 12th, that's the day we report. But I think the big thing will be, who's going to be our quarterback, and currently right now, our front runner is Jersey Selzler. Jersey is out of Velva, North Dakota. Nice. He transferred to us from Morehead State a couple years ago, so he's been Cooper Mattern's backup, but certainly we've got a few in the stable that that will push for things, and we'll see who can distribute the football and put it in the playmakers' hands, and it's a big position, as we all know.
Absolutely. Well, it doesn't hurt to have a Velva quarterback right there at fingertips reach. So Looking forward to seeing what Jersey can do. I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned Cooper Matter. Now he's off working with the NDSU football program. Just how much has he meant to your program throughout his time there? Dynamite career with Concordia.
Absolutely. I mean, he broke every record probably known to mankind. And, obviously I have to kid him once in a while because we were 3 yards in a cloud of dust forever. And now we started chucking the rock around. But he's extremely cerebral. I'm super happy that he wants to kind of check out the coaching scene, and he's loving his time over at NDSU with Paul Seck's crew and whatnot. And he's learning a lot. But he's a coach's kid,
Right.
His dad, Troy, outstanding man, outstanding football coach, and Cooper meant a lot to us, and we're going to miss him, that's for sure, and big shoes to fill. He was super competitive, but he distributed the football, and he would take the ball into his own hands at times too, and he ran well, and he just did so much for us. Outstanding leader, and we're going to miss him.
I want to go back. You mentioned it just a couple of moments ago. Players report in early part of August here. Describe what an off season is like for these players at the Division III level, because it's different from what you see at Division I, Division II. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can't actually have any time with them.
Right.
Our strength coach, we have a full-time strength coach. He's been with us for about 13 years. He puts together their plan, their lifting plan, their running plan, their agility plan, and then it's on them and to get this done. And he can't even actually give direction in the weight room. That's the rule. He can be down there from a standpoint of spotting or just safety and whatnot, but he can't give any instruction. And so really, it's on the onus of our young men. But we got guys that have all played a ton for us. They were led really well by a bunch of seniors last year with expectations of how we do things. We sent the message out to the guys a little about a week ago or so that, hey, listen, we're just about 90 days out, and look at we're already in the 80s. I still remember looking at that countdown clock, and we had 200 some days left before kickoff. So it's coming fast, and your most important season of the off-season training is obviously as you get closer and in the summer. Mm-hmm. And our strength coach can work with our guys all off-season, but it's the summer training time that it's kind of hands-off and it's kind of player-led.
Right. Test of dedication there as well, and I know your guys do a fantastic job with that. Over the last couple of days, one more for you, and then we'll let you go here, Terry. Over the last couple of days, we've been talking about the craziness that's going on with Division I athletics. It's almost hard to follow at times. I want to get your thought. What's going on in D3 football? What's the state of D3 football right now? Is it pretty strong?
Very strong, and honestly, to me, with everything that's going on at the Division I level, it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
There's so much to it nowadays. I mean, we got general managers that are side by side with these head coaches, and you're running it like a professional team. And, we're the last true amateur sport left on a collegiate campus, in my opinion. And D3 is strong. I mean, NIL has dipped into D3 as well. I know the programs that have been continuously at the top of our rankings and whatnot. We're starting to see that happening. So sooner or later, it could trickle into us a little bit more, and it hasn't currently with us at Concordia. But certainly it's going to have to start to be something we're thinking about.
It's interesting. Terry, I appreciate your time. Congratulations on a night game coming up, and best of luck over the next 87-odd days as we get ready for the football season.
Hey, appreciate you, Sam. Thanks for having us on today.
Absolutely. Terry Horan, the head coach of Concordia football, joining us here on this Tuesday morning. Chat a little Cobber football here, which is always fun to do. A reminder, again, their season opener is on Saturday, September 6th. Against Mayville State. It's a 7 o'clock start time for that at the Jake. It's a whiteout game. And then as you heard him mention, the Corn Fest also on that same day as well. It is an electric day over in Moorhead on September 6th. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, Saturday, September 20th is their next game down in St. Olaf, which is in Northfield. And then that's the Lefse Bowl. So crazy bowl games going on over there. But great to hear from Terry. Looking forward to seeing what his Cobbers football team could do. And I love what he said. They're one of the last amateur college sporting divisions, if you will, left on college campuses. So it could trickle down to that mark. We'll have to see. But again, big thanks to Terry for joining us, chatting a little night game here at the Jake coming up this season against Mayville State. All right, we're due for another break. When we come back on the other side, we're talking more football, but this time with a Bison legend in Spencer Waege. Announced his retirement from the game of football. We'll have him on here in just a couple of moments and chat about that decision and reflect back on a very strong career. That's coming up next on Hot Mic. Update to everybody here on this Tuesday morning. Can't believe that this is what happened when I'm in the chair. We lost power in the studio, so we're working to get that back. And then we're working to get back in touch with Spencer Waege. So we will hear from him on this Tuesday morning. Just bear with us. It might take a couple of minutes, but we'll be there as soon as we can. So in the meantime, while we try to figure everything out, we'll take a break here on this Tuesday morning, and we'll be back, and we'll try to be back with Spencer Waege on this Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and also streaming on Inform.com. All right, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming here on Hot Mic on this Tuesday morning. Apologize for the little delay there. We had a power bump in the studio, lost power, but we're back. Thanks to the engineers for coming in here and helping us out, get everything back up in order, and we can continue on here with the show on this Tuesday morning. Again, Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. Dom should be back in here tomorrow. We mentioned it earlier. Want to continue our football conversation here, and mentioned it was scrolling through X yesterday and saw the announcement on Spencer Waege retiring from football. So we figured it'd be good to have him on and have a little walk down memory lane here on this Tuesday. So let's welcome in Spencer on the show here this morning. Spencer, thanks for taking some time today. Describe what this time has been like since the announcement to now, and what went into making the decision.
Yeah, it's been really cool. Just everyone that's kind of reached out and has, just said that they had fun watching me play, fun following my career through, high school to the pros, and just kind of seeing again all the support that I really had throughout the years. It just kind of meant a lot. And, obviously this decision wasn't an easy one. Like I've said, like I knew the day was going to come, and, I knew I wasn't going to get to play forever. And it just kind of finally hit that point, where I felt like it was time. I needed to be home, and I ain't gonna go into all the details of everything that played into it, but it was mainly it was time to be back home.
Well, it was a fantastic career, no doubt about that. And you posted the announcement on social media yesterday, and there's a line in there that I really enjoyed, and it's the fact that you can look back at your younger self who always wanted to, be a professional football player to growing up, and you can now look back and realize that you did that. Has that sunk in yet? Have you taken a moment to realize, like, man, I did all this stuff in my football career?
Yeah, I have. For the last, probably month or so now, I've really kind of just been looking back on a lot of it, reflecting, and it is kind of just crazy to think, because I see, my mom's got different photos around the house of me when I was little wearing, NFL gear and, playing football. And it's just like kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, at that time it was like, that was just a dream and something that I wanted to do. And, every little kid has that dream of playing professional sports, being part of a professional team. And so now to fully say, like, that I did that, I was a part of the team. I did everything that I dreamed of doing when I was little. I don't know what younger me would really say, but I know he'd be happy.
That's awesome to hear. I want to walk down memory lane a little bit more with you on this Tuesday morning. Spent 6 years at NDSU. You're one of the most decorated players in Bison football history. When you look back at that time in your life, what do you remember most of your time here in Fargo?
That it went too fast, even though I was there for 6 years. No, I mean, obviously, like you got the like you mentioned some of the accolades and just kind of stuff like that. But I mean, when I look back, I remember just the teammates, the coaches, the relationships that I built. I mean, it was stuff like that just it made showing up every day just so much more fun, and just even the stuff outside of football that you gotta just build those relationships, like I said, with your teammates, and just get so close to everybody over those 6 years that you were there, and just not only the teammates that I met, but then like all the parents that you met through it, and just everyone, the spider web that trickles down of everybody that you meet and got to see. And it was just stuff like that I look back and I'm just like, that's kind of the stuff I'm really going to miss. And obviously I'm going to miss playing in the games, and I'll miss playing in the Fargo Dome and all that stuff. But, just the relationships that I had built through my time there, it's just something that'll always be special to me.
I know you've mentioned it before, but give us the story of how you ended up at NDSU. What went into the decision to come here?
Yeah, so no, it's always kind of funny because, I always just kind of assumed when I was in high school, especially in my earlier years, that I was going to end up at SDSU. That was kind of the in-state team, and and I didn't know a lot even about NDSU, even though I'm not that far away. Other than I knew they were winning national championships, that was kind of about it. But I remember I kind of got into the recruiting process, and, SDSU had reached out, some smaller schools in the area had reached out and stuff. Didn't really know, what was going to happen. It was obviously, not too many people before me in Watertown had kind of got recruited like this. So it was kind of some uncharted territory. It was just kind of figuring out as I went. And, I remember still I was in a study hall class in high school, and I looked at my phone and I had a follow from Tyler Roll. And I was just like, well, what the heck, NDSU? And I remember I looked at it and, followed him back and started getting the messages from him and all this stuff, and kind of just started that recruiting process. And, went up to NDSU on a junior day, and it was, even my parents will say it. They're like, from the first time I was up there, they knew that's where I was going to go. They could just tell I fell in love with the place. And then it was, would have been later in the spring. I had a camp down in Sioux Falls, like a combine type camp. And T-Roll was at that. And it wasn't long after doing that I had a phone call with Kleiman for offering me a scholarship to come up there and play. And I might as well have just told him I was going to commit right there, because I knew I was, but waited a little bit, and then ended up committing before the end of my junior year of high school. And the rest is history from there.
Exactly right. It all worked out pretty good. As you mentioned, those 6 years were pretty fantastic. We just saw a video up on the screen here as well. You're no stranger to coming back here to NDSU after you've left. What's it like coming back here now that you're an alumni of this Bison football program, and just to see that they're continuing this success since you've been gone?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love Fargo. It's always going to be a place I consider home. And like I said, seeing the success that that place is still having and will continue to have, it speaks volume about the culture and the type of program that it really is up there. Especially in this age of college sports, it's not easy to have that carry over year after year after year. And the fact that NDSU is still doing it and doing it the right way just speaks volumes about that program.
So after your time was done at NDSU, you go on to make a run at the NFL, stops in San Francisco and in Green Bay. Describe your thoughts on what it was like in that time frame in the NFL.
Yeah, going out to San Fran right away. Didn't know what I'd think of California. That was a little different for me right away. But by the time that I was done out there, that I kind of fell in love with that place too. That's always going to be a place I hope to get back and visit someday, just to see everything again. I thought it was just everything there was to do out there. I thought it was so cool. But then that organization itself, talk about people that do it the right way and try to bring in the right people to benefit the players. And the relationships even out there that I built with guys on the team in the front office and stuff like that. It was something, again, going back to the dream of when I was a little kid that just never thought I would, do. And even on that, my retirement post that I put out yesterday, seeing guys from the Niners that would comment or texted me about it, and just still knowing that those connections are still there.
You were part of that 49ers team that won the Super Bowl. Describe what it was like being a part of that organization as that year was going on. I imagine that had to have been crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously there were some ups and downs even with that, going through camp, got released at the end of camp, and then being called back and having to try out again and signed a practice squad. But yeah, once I was back, right around the mid part of the season, I mean, I kind of make jokes with people. That was one of my favorite, seasons playing football. Just because, like I said, first year being in the pros, and then just the D-line room that we had, the group of guys in there. I mean, I heard stories that usually, that it's not as close as it is college. Like, it's always just going to be a little different in that sense. It's more of a business, and there is a lot of truth to that still. But, sitting in that room in there, I mean, I think there were 6 or 7 former first-round picks or something like that in there. But it was just stuff like you never would have known it. Like, everyone in there was just how you kind of always expected, kind of a, like a locker room type feeling to be. Like, that's how it was. That's how it was from the coach to the player to all the players in the room. I mean, it made it so much more enjoyable to kind of be a part of, just because it was a lot more close knit. And then obviously we got, season went on, and we were, we had ended up with the 1 seed, had the first round bye, got to the playoffs, and the playoff games that year, I think, took years off my life because they were so stressful watching. Each one of them was a close nail biter or come from behind win. And then, yeah, getting to, go to a Super Bowl my first year in the NFL was never would have even dreamt that would have even happened.
Yep.
And obviously we fell short of, getting a ring, but just to be there and to be at that, one of the biggest games in sports, right on the sideline, in the action. I mean, that was just surreal, dream come true, and just, something I, again, never thought that I would truly get to do.
I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you take, that experience or the experience of the FCS National Championships?
I mean, just because I was playing in the FCS Championships games, I'm going to say that. But I mean, the Super Bowl, I mean, it's right up there with it.
I figured that would be the answer. I figured that would be the answer. For obviously, you've reached levels that a lot of athletes will not get to in their career, and even playing in preseason games is a really, really remarkable feat. What's it like playing in a game like that? Are the nerves through the roof? I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days. I feel like they would be.
Yeah, no, and there's absolutely a lot of nerves with it. And even for guys who are in my position that are in the UDFA spot, who are you're doing everything you can to fight for some sort of roster spot. I mean, those games are literally your Super Bowl, because you're the one you got to make the team. You got to go do all this, and you're the one that's you're going to be getting probably more of the snaps than the veteran guys, and so the nerves are definitely high. But at the end of the day, too, it's still football. It's what you've trained for your whole life. So that always helped me at least kind of falling back on that. But no, there's definitely a lot of nerves with it, even though, like I said, it's the preseason game.
Well, it's been pretty well documented that you've done a lot of work on your family farm, whether it be in the off season or just when you get some downtime in South Shore, South Dakota. Is that what's next for you? What are the plans moving forward?
Yeah, no. So like I said, I've loved farming all my life, and that's going to be always what I do to some capacity. And there is some other stuff that I've kind of looked at just to kind of stay a little more busy in the downtime of farming, but nothing's been set in stone yet, so I don't want to say anything yet. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, yeah, I'm gonna be farming back here, and loving every second of it.
That's awesome. How much are you looking forward to getting back into the swing of that?
I can't wait. That's one of the hardest things being gone with football all the time, because you're busy in the fall doing stuff. You miss out on harvest. And college, when it came to the spring, you had your workouts, spring ball. You weren't, I wasn't around for calving, planting hardly ever. So the busiest times of year, you always were gone and had to miss. So yep. It's going to be nice to be back for just everything now.
What kind of operation you guys running down there?
We got crops, and then we do cow-calf as well.
Okay, awesome. Good deal. I wanted to ask you this, too, of course, being from South Dakota. Gray Zabel from Pierce, South Dakota, just got drafted in the first round. The level of talent in South Dakota is growing, wouldn't you say, especially at the high school level? Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. just even spending my time doing my workouts at the high school in Watertown, just seeing even the colleges that would come through there that would be wanting to talk to different, kids coming up through Watertown. And I would sit there, I'd look at my high school football coach and I'd just be like, we didn't have any big colleges come through here when I was a senior. So, I mean, like I said, obviously we had the North Dakota States, South Dakota States, your area schools, but to get, like I said, the Kansas States or Minnesota's or, just Power 4 schools to come through and look at kids or just talk to them on through the recruiting process. I mean, it's kind of just cool to see that, people are starting to realize that there's some talent in South Dakota.
You're only a couple of years removed away from NDSU, but as you follow along with the Bison, and obviously that comes with following along with the state of college football, is it crazy to see how much things have changed in just the 3 years since you've been gone?
It is. It seems like it's a whole different animal from when I was there. And there's a part of me that's glad I was done when I was done. So I didn't have to because some of it honestly seems like a little bit of a headache for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's a part of me too that it would have been nice to get paid a little bit while playing. But I'm glad I got to experience, college football for what it was for so long.
You hoping to stick around the game of football a little bit, just here and there?
Yeah, no, like I said, I'll never be able to not be, have it a part of me. But to what extent that'll look like moving forward, I guess we'll see. But it'll always be a part of me.
Well, Spencer, congratulations on a fantastic career, especially here at NDSU and then on at the pro level. Best of luck with everything you got going moving forward, man. Yeah,
thank you.
Spencer Waege joining us here on this Tuesday morning. Thanks so much for joining us once again, and fantastic career. Here at NDSU, playing 6 years, winning 4 national titles, and then going on to the NFL ranks, which is pretty hard to do, no doubt about that. There is some other retirement news we want to get to a little bit later on in the show as well, coming out of the NHL ranks. So we will make sure to do that after a little bit here, probably after our next break as we get ready for hour number 2. Again, that conversation with Spencer Waege brought to you by Northwestern Mutual on this Tuesday morning. Made it through that. No power bump. I think we're good to go. So we will take that. We're back on the air. We're ready to roll. Hour number 2 coming on in just a couple of moments here on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and also streaming on Inforum.com.
This is Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
All right, we're back and ready to roll here on this Tuesday morning. I have not should mention, no Mike McFeely today, taking some time off. He's on vacation. Hope to have him back next week, but getting some much-deserved time off. Big thank you to Terry Horan and Spencer Waege for joining us in hour number 1 this morning. As we cross into hour number 2, we're going to talk about TJ Oshie later on in the hour. He is a UND certified legend, but before we get to him, we're going to talk about another legend in the making at UND, and that's Kenna Curry as she gets ready for the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field National Championships. She's in Eugene, Oregon right now. Kenna, thanks for coming on this morning. What's it like out there in Oregon? Where are the emotions at right now as you get ready for this meet?
I think all the emotions are high. I'm very excited to be here. The energy as soon as we landed in Oregon was track. It's go time. So energy's high. I think everybody's very excited.
Can you feel that that's the track and field mecca of the world?
Yeah. Everywhere you go, it says Tracktown USA. So every sign you go past. So it's a really great environment to have nationals at.
I want to chat more about nationals in just a little bit, but take me throughout the season here. Of course, Kenna is the thrower at UND. This regular season, you've been dominant this year. It's your final year with the Fighting Hawks. You got 8 throwing titles. You got the new shot put record. You dominated the Summit League championships. I mean, how fun has this year been for you?
It has been incredibly fun. I mean, I think every season you come in goal, and we've achieved every goal that I've set for myself so far. So it has been a really fun season, and I'm just so grateful that I've had the opportunity to do it.
Describe what it was like at the Summit League Championships a couple of weeks ago. How was that competition? How'd you feel after leaving that?
That competition was super fun. It was really close to my hometown, so I had a lot of supporters out, and I just knew I had to go out and do the job, and again have so much fun at the meet. After the competition, I mean, I set my sights higher, West Region, all that, but I did take a little bit of time to enjoy the accomplishments.
Awesome. The road to get to where you're at right now in Eugene, Oregon is not an easy one to get to. You just wrapped up competing at the NCAA West preliminary round, which was at Texas A&M not too long ago. Describe that experience and your thoughts after that and qualifying for the hammer throw to get to Eugene, Oregon.
I found that meet to be a little bit more stressful, I won't lie. Because, I mean, this was the end goal, go to nationals. So I knew what had to be done there. And the emotions of after qualifying were amazing. I was with my coach. I'm like, we did it. We did it. Now time to go to nationals. So it was just a very exciting moment.
Well, obviously you go up against great competition throughout the year, but you go down there on a big stage at a big campus and you go up against some of the best in the country. I mean, that's a 180 flip from the regular season, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, regular season, they try and take us to some pretty competitive meets to mock a meet like this. And I think we did a pretty good job at attending some of those meets. But I mean, nothing's going to prepare you for West Regionals. It's a completely different environment. The stress is completely different. So I think that meet is unique in that reason. But I did feel prepared for a big competition.
Qualified for the hammer throw. How did you qualify? Give us the rundown of how that went down in the preliminary round.
Yeah, so I fouled my first throw, and then it got a little bit more stressful because you only get 3 throws. The second one went in, and the rest was history. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so just a high-stress meet that was really fun.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad we were over at the North Dakota State Track and Field meet not too long ago, and once you get a foul up on the board, I was tensing just watching that up. So good to see that you made it, you qualified. Is the hammer throw, is that your bread and butter? Is that the go-to for you?
I think it's becoming that, yeah. It has not always been that way, but I think in recent years, I've just kind of started to focus more and understand more about the hammer throw, so I've started to excel in that area, yeah.
Shot put and discus, are those the other throwing events that you're involved in?
Yeah, I mean, I love them all, but I'm done with shot put and discus, so I think having a little bit less stress on spreading my practice times equally is going to be a little helpful towards this meet.
What goes into a good hammer throw? As you get ready for this week, break it down for someone who's never done it before. What goes into it?
My coach says it's just like walking forward. So some might say it's just like walking. I think what goes into a good hammer throw is balance and speed and a good finish.
Okay. Okay.
Well, maybe a little bit of walking in there.
A little bit of walking in there, just walking forward. I got to ask you, how'd you get into all this, the track and field and the throwing? Where did this come from?
My track career started in 7th grade. I wanted to do all the sports. So my mom signed me up for track and field, and I started running. I'm like, I hate track. This is not for me. And luckily, a few other coaches were there, and they're like, okay, we can try some other events other than the 4x1. I was like, that sounds awesome because this is not fun. So then we tried throwing, and it was kind of an immediate love.
Really?
I mean, I started excelling pretty quickly in that area. So, yeah.
So as you were coming up, was the field side of things, was that your number one sport, or were you competing in other stuff?
Yeah. So in high school, I was a 4-sport athlete. I competed in volleyball, basketball, track, and softball. I went to a very small school, which allowed me to do all the sports, which I'm incredibly grateful for. Yeah, track started to become my one as I excelled, I would say around junior year is when I was like, yep, track is it.
Awesome. Well, and to see where your career has gone and now you're wrapping it up at UND, as you look back, did you ever think, like, this is what's going to happen in my throwing career so far? It's pretty crazy to look at, isn't it?
It is crazy to look at. I never thought I would be going to the NCAA nationals. My goals in high school were to just maybe learn the hammer, compete well at meets, maybe make the conference team, and then if I made all those, then win a conference championship. So where I'm at is I've exceeded my goals from high school Kenna.
Was there a point that flipped that you realized, like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I can be pretty successful at this.
Yes. Sophomore year not sophomore year, junior year when I made it to overalls. That next summer I had a meeting with my coach and I was like, okay, this was it. We did it. What can I do? Because I want to do this every single year. This is not done. And I think that was a huge turning point in my career.
Awesome.
I started taking everything more seriously and yeah.
How'd you get up to UND? I know there's a story up on inform.com about you as well as you were getting ready for that Texas A&M meet down there. How'd you get to UND? Because your family's very deeply rooted to SDSU, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah. So when I went on my official visit to UND, I fell in love with the campus, the people. They had a great program for my major, and I had a scheduled, I think it was supposed to be a 30-minute meeting with the head of my department, and it ended up being 2 hours long. Very informative. Yeah, so when I was on the car ride back from that official visit, I turned to my mom and was like, what if I go to North Dakota? Because I just loved everything about it after that meet.
Oh, and what was the response from your mom?
She's like, all right, that's what we're doing then. You're going. And I had one more official visit scheduled and I canceled it. And that was ever since.
What was the reaction then from the coaching staff when you said that you were going to go to UND? I imagine they were just over the moon.
Yeah, I actually called my previous coach when he was in a deer stand. So he was trying to be quiet, but I could tell he was excited.
Yeah. No, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all. Your sister's throwing at SDSU. How unique is this experience competing at the NCAA Division I level? And there's you, and then there's your sister down 29.
I am so grateful for this experience. I think it's incredibly unique. I got to compete with her in high school sports, so getting to do it at the collegiate level for last year has been super special and really exciting. I mean, and I didn't get to see my sister when she was in high school and I was in college very much. So getting to see her pretty much every weekend has been amazing.
That's fantastic to hear. Go back to the national championships here again, joined by Kenna Curry on this Tuesday morning. You're not alone out there. Jaden Keeler is joining you out there from UND. She's going to compete in the 10,000 meter. How fun is it to be well represented? UND is at Eugene, Oregon, and it's not just you. You got some help out there.
It's amazing because not only do you want to have your teammates here, but this is great representation for the university at what UND women's track and field can do. We have two people here. Jaden and me both made it to indoor, and I am more than confident that Jaden can continue this going to these big meets next year as well. So it's incredibly special, and I can probably speak for both of us when we're both very excited to be here and very proud to represent UND here.
What's your schedule while you're out there? When do you compete? And in between, what's it like? What are you doing to get ready?
So me and Jaden both compete on Thursday. I think I compete in the morning and she competes closer to the evening. Up until Thursday, she's going on runs. I have my practice and lifts. And then it's meet day. We get the job done. And then after, I think we're going to do a little bit of sightseeing because it's beautiful here. There's a few places we want to go.
I wouldn't doubt that. I love what you say. Get the job done there. Is there something you're shooting for while you compete starting on Thursday? Or do you just, whatever the cards fall, that's what it is?
I mean, I think you're always going to have your goals.
Yep.
But I'm pretty happy to be here. So I'll pretty much take just about anything I get. But I feel like I'm a decent competitor. I think I can what I want to do and get it done.
That's fantastic. Kenna Curry joining us on this Tuesday morning. One more before I let you go. Seeing UND track over the last, what has it been, 5 years now? Is that correct?
Yep.
Thoughts on UND track and field? Where's it at right now, and how much has it grown in your 5 years?
Right now, we're just at a starting point. I think we have grown as a team and as coaches and as individuals on the team. We have grown significantly, but this is only the starting point for UND track and field. I truly believe that there is more to come with our younger classmates and the recruits we're getting. I think UND will be a big name here soon.
That's fantastic to hear. Kenna Curry joining us on this Tuesday morning. Best of luck out there in Eugene. We'll be rooting for you from back here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Good luck out there. Kenna Curry joining us once again, getting ready to compete in the hammer throw. And then, of course, also have Jaden Keeler out there as well, getting ready for the 10,000-meter distance run. Couldn't imagine doing that. We're wishing the best of luck over there. We'll keep our eye on that. I think we're going to try to get Jaden on at some point as well, hopefully before their competition. If not, they got bigger fish to fry. There's no doubt about that. Due for another break. Let's take one here. We'll reset. Of course, we had our little power bump earlier. Big thank you to Terry Horan, Spencer Waege for bearing with us, and of course for Kenna Curry as well. We'll continue on with hour number 2. That's coming up in just a couple of moments here on Hot Mic. Welcome back on this Tuesday morning. Beautiful day. Good to see the sun shining out once again. It's been cold and chilly over the last couple of days. So hopefully we can get out and go enjoy the weather. Feel like summer a little bit. Feels like March as of right now, as of late. Does feel like hockey season. There's no doubt about that. I want to get into some more retirement news here in a little bit. If you remember at the top of the show, I mentioned that this could be the retirement edition of this Tuesday morning Hot Mic. But I do want to go back to Spencer Waege a little bit. I forgot to mention it, and I do want to pass along just some of the numbers from his college career. 2-time FCS All-American, 4-time FCS National Championship. Played in 57 career games. He recorded 138 tackles, 42 TFLs, 20 and a half sacks. That's pretty impressive. And of course, he announced his retirement the other day on social media. It doesn't matter who you are. To get to that level, even if it is just practice squad, bouncing from a couple of teams there, he also got signed on to the CFL as well. Not many athletes make it to that point. Just doesn't happen. So to get there, also produce the numbers that he did in college, really, really impressive stuff. So congratulations to Spencer for a fantastic career. And again, thanks to him for joining us earlier this morning. Also, thanks to Kenna Curry as well, getting ready for the NCAA National Championships. We're pulling for her. She gets ready for the hammer throw on Thursday. Those in Eugene, Oregon, at the mecca of track and field. So we'll see. We'll see what she can do there. So looking forward to keeping up to date with that. Other retirement news to get to. In the NHL, I've been hearing the buzz that there was going to be a big announcement from TJ Oshie. I think that it came out a couple of weeks ago that there was going to be this big announcement. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? I had a feeling that, it's probably time to hang it up for TJ Oshie. So he had this big announcement yesterday in Washington. He was in front of hundreds of fans, and the announcement was not that he was coming back from his extended injury. It was that he was going to hang up the skates. And this is what he had to say in Washington yesterday, addressing the hundreds of people that were there to hear from TJ.
So to my family, friends, coaches, trainers, teammates, fans, and to the game of hockey, promise you this: The moment my skates touched the ice, I gave you everything I had.
Of course, he's a Minnesota hockey legend. He's a former UND star. He's a future NHL Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And he's hanging up the skates here. So that's big news in the NHL, especially for the Washington Capitals. I know he's getting older. He's getting up. He's been battling injuries. He's been battling the back pain. He's been on the extended list, extended injury list for a while with his back pain. So, great career. Tough for him to see him hang it up. Of course, as you mentioned, a lot of people around these neck of the woods will remember TJ Oshie and his time at UND. Led them to, 3 Frozen Fours? Trying to get back to there. Of course, he was taken 24th overall in the 2005 draft to St. Louis, went to them after his time in Grand Forks. Of course, most of the country is going to remember him for his time in the NHL as well. He played 1,116 regular season games and playoff games. 1,116. I think he deserves some retirement here. Played for the Blues, played for the Capitals, debuted in 2008. I was looking at this as well last night. 336 goals, 428 assists for 764 points. That's pretty good. Also had 21 points in Washington's Cup run as well. I think a lot of people, I'm curious what people are going to remember him most for. I would say it's not so much what he did in the NHL. I would debate that it's what he did in the Winter Olympics in Sochi in 2014 when he had that monster shootout performance to beat Sergei Bobrovsky. He made 4 out of 6 shootout attempts to advance USA, or to win that 2014 Winter Olympics. I would say that's a pretty defining moment in TJ Oshie's career. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, people around here are going to remember TJ for his time at War Road, where he won 2 state championships in the Minnesota State High School League in 2003 and 2005, went undefeated in his senior season. So, big congratulations to TJ Oshie. Big year for the Washington Capitals. Of course, they had Alex Ovechkin and everything that was going on there. Breaking the career goal record. It's funny, I was actually on the phone with Rachel Herzog last night, who's an analyst for the Devils now. I told her they have Oshie, who retired, and Ovechkin retired as well, and she had to correct me on that. That whole run of Ovechkin going to the career goal record kind of felt like a retirement party, and he hasn't made the announcement yet, but you have to imagine that announcement's coming down the pipe here at some point. I would assume so, because his contract goes through next season, 2025, 2026. I don't know if he's going to come back or not. We'll have to see. And, of course, Marc-Andre Fleury retired this year in the NHL as well. The pros are the game is changing. The game is changing. So Oshie gone, Marc-Andre Fleury is gone. Also did see this just a couple of moments ago. We could pop it up on the screen here, the Calder Trophy. So when you look at the past and them walking out the door, we can definitely look ahead to the future as well. And the Calder Trophy voting was finalized, and a winner has been announced. And that winner was Canadiens defenseman Lane Hudson, winning the Calder Trophy this season. This is the final voting. Got 1,800 points there. And seeing that down the mark here a little bit, Jackson Blake in the 9th spot, former UND grad, or former UND hockey player, I should say, now over at Carolina, having a phenomenal season. Or he did, I should say. So he's in the mix, or he was in the mix for that. So that was pretty cool to see. All right, we are due for a break here, so let's step aside and take another one here. When we come back, I do want to hop on the trains of some baseball here. Twins had an off day yesterday. They'll be back in action here shortly, and there was also some craziness in the world of college baseball in the College World Series. So we're going to touch on that here in just a little bit as this Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic continues on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and also streaming on Inform.com. Back here on this sunny Tuesday morning, Hot Mic continues on WDAY Extra, streaming on Inform.com, also on KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, and KNBN in Rapid City. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. Dom should be back tomorrow, and should be here on Thursday as well. From what it sounds like, Matt Larson, North Dakota State AD, will be here on Thursday. Chat about everything that's coming on with the House settlement coming down. There's also a new act that's making waves. Maybe we'll touch on that in just a little bit as well. Here on this Tuesday morning, about a half hour left here on the show. Twins had an off day yesterday. Want to chat some baseball here. They're coming off of a little bit of a tough stretch here. They did win the series against the Athletics, but they lost the series to Toronto, so they get the day off. And now they get ready for a 3-game stretch here at home against the Texas Rangers with Game 1 tonight, 6:40 start time for that. Guys, do we have the pitching graphic here? And exactly, don't know for sure who's going to pitch tonight for the Minnesota Twins. Eric, I don't know if you're back there. Have you done any digging? Have you seen anything at all on who's going to go for the Twins today? We do know that Tyler Mahle will get the start for Texas on the other end. 5-3 record, 71 and a third innings pitched this season with a 2.02 ERA. I'm curious. I'm going to look this up.
We think it's going to be Simeon Woods Richardson.
That's what I thought.
Just because he's scratched from his start, I believe it was on Sunday in St. Paul, but there's been no word. I mean, it's just a game that the teams are trying to play with each other. It's like, are we going to throw a bullpen guy to start? Do we do this? And I don't know. I just think openers are stupid, to be honest. If you're just going to throw an inning, it just burns a guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I get it.
That's been a topic of debate lately because haven't the Rockies done that recently where they'll put an opener out and then they'll essentially go to a long reliever? Is that correct?
Yeah, the Rockies have done it. The Brewers have actually done it a lot. It's just to get they want a hard thrower to get through the top 3 because those are usually the most dangerous hitters.
Mm-hmm.
And then your starter can go maybe a little longer and give them a little more time to warm up. But I don't know. I think it's dumb. Just throw a starter out there and let him go however long he goes and let your bullpen take care of the rest. If you're good, your bullpen will be fine. If your bullpen's terrible, well, then find new pitchers.
Yeah. I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that. So we don't know for sure who's going to get the start for the Twins here tonight, I should say, against the Texas Rangers. We do know Festa will go in Game 2, and Bailey Ober will go in Game 3. So looking forward to seeing the Twins back in action right now. They're 35-30, second in the AL Central. There's the AL Central standings. You got Detroit still at the top. Really, really impressive year from Detroit. Got to say, I was a huge Detroit fan growing up back in the day, mainly because of Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder. So I'm happy to see that they're having a little bit of success here in this 2025 season. But hopefully the Twins can make a run at it. They're 7 games back right now. They're the game up on the Cleveland Guardians. Kansas City in the 4th spot. And then you have the Chicago White Sox, 20.5 games back. It's been a tough road for them. Tough road for them. I'm very curious, too. We got the trade deadline coming up in, what is it, a little over a month now? Is it the end of July that's coming up? I don't imagine the Twins are going to make a big move. I'm not a front office guy by any means, but don't imagine they have the capability to make a big-name move, but they have to do something for that pitching rotation so can potentially avoid a situation like this. Simeon Woods Richardson down in the in St. Paul not too long ago. I believe he got the call-up, so we'll see if he gets the start tonight. We'll give you the highlights of that game tomorrow. I do want to transition over to college baseball. College World Series happening last night. There was only one more super regional game to be completed. And I caught an hour of this game, Murray State and Duke. Got an hour before I flipped it over to the Stanley Cup final game. And I got it. Dom mentioned it yesterday, and I totally agree that a lot of people around here are probably going to be cheering for Murray State. And I definitely found myself to be one of them. Watching the game, the Racers and the Blue Devils, and immediately when I turned it on, just remembered back the trip to Murray, Kentucky, and when NDSU played football there. Just the nicest people down there, and that university, you could just tell, needed a win, needed a trip to the College World Series. And they had an opportunity to do it, game on the line. So let's show you the highlights from last night. Pretty crazy game. Started off the hop. Murray State jumped out with some pretty hot bats. Jonathan Hogart crushed this ball to left field for a solo home run. That was first couple of pitches of the game. That would be his 8th leadoff homer of the year, and that leads all of Division I. So they would be up 1-0. They'd be up 2-0 after the first. Now we go to the 7th. This is Hogart again, hammering another ball to left field. And just like that, brand new ball game, tied up at 3 apiece because the Duke bats were pretty good as well. And for Hogart, 22 home runs. That ties the Racers' single-season program record. So it's been a historic year. And this is where things get interesting. Bottom of the 9th, runner on first base. Murray State with a 1-run lead, looking to get the double play to end it. And there's a slide at second. Okay, now we have controversy. Umpire behind the mound says, that's interference. That's a double play. Murray State, you're going to the College World Series. Well, upon further review, they realize it wasn't that egregious, so they let the Blue Devils essentially have another chance. Next pitch, it's next play, next batter, it's a ground out, and just like that, Murray State is advancing. They're going to Omaha for the first time in program history. Elation there, and I definitely agree. I think that was the right call. I don't think it was necessarily interference. It seemed like there could have been a play that was made. And this reminds me going back to the Minot Cheyenne game from a couple of weeks ago in the state championship in the Division A level in North Dakota of that ruling and the collision at home plate, the collision at second base here. It didn't look that serious. Eric, you were watching the game. What did you think of everything last night?
It was actually a really good game. I mean, I'm glad Duke lost because nobody like my personal opinion, nobody likes Duke. But also this is the third or fourth time, in the since the College World Series has expanded to regionals that a 4 seed has gone on.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is the 4th time.
Yep.
Last one being Oral Roberts in 2023.
Yeah,
And
they're
they
doing
made
it for
some
the little
noise.
guys.
And only one of them has gone on to win the College World Series. Do you know who that is? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Well, I'm cheating because I just looked it up. Was it Stony Brook in 2012?
No, they didn't even win a game.
Oh.
They lost 9-1 and 12-2.
Did they really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll give you a hint.
Because it's Murray State, Oral Roberts.
Yep.
Fresno State.
Yep.
It wasn't Oral Roberts.
Nope.
Fresno.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge.
Was it Aaron Judge? I don't know.
I think so. I think wasn't he in the home run derby that year in 2008?
I don't know.
All right, you're part of this cracked research team. Let's get on that here.
I'll get on it and I'll get back to you.
Let's take a peek here. So the College World Series, the bracket is as follows. You got Arizona and Louisville, Oregon State and Coastal Carolina on one side. It's pretty solid run at it. Then you get Murray State, and then you get UCLA, LSU, and Arkansas. And, of course, Arkansas hosted the regional that North Dakota State was involved in. And NDSU, unfortunately, not able to make a Murray State level run, but they did get a win down there, which was take that any day of the week, because that's hard to do. And now you deal with the world of the transfer portal, and that's where we're at. Excuse me here for a second. I don't know. I'm looking at this College World Series bracket. I haven't followed along with it. I mean, obviously follow North Dakota State, but I haven't followed some of the bigger schools here. I want to say Arkansas is going to win the whole thing just based off of bias that North Dakota State was in the regional. That would be pretty cool to see. Would love to see this story continue from Murray State.
Aaron Judge was not on that team.
Oh, he was not. Was he older? Yeah, or later on, I should say. When was he in the home run derby?
He's got to be younger. I'm looking up to see when he was.
Well, I was completely wrong on that. Now that I think about it, 2008 does seem like a pretty far off deal. So I digress. But Murray State, we drove by the baseball facility while we were down there for the football game this last year, and not the biggest thing in the world. It's seats probably about 800 people. And I also saw on social media somewhere that their head coach actually mows the lawn mows the grass at the baseball field over there in Murray, Kentucky. So congratulations for them becoming a 4 seed to reach it all the way to the College World Series. What a run it's been there. Again, you got Murray State. Oral Roberts did it in 2023. We all remember that run coming out of the Summit League. Stony Brook in 2012, and then Fresno State in 2008 to get that done. So
Judge was in the College World Series or Home Run Derby in 2012.
2012.
And he won it.
2012. That's when it was. Eric, do you got a pick for the College World Series? Who's going to win this thing?
I'm pulling for the underdog in Murray State just because I think that's the better Cinderella story, but right now, Arkansas is probably the favorite to go through and win it all.
Okay, so my pick is correct then. I will go through that as well. So we'll see. We'll see how everything shapes out.
Although, congratulations to the Pac-12. You got 3 teams in there. Oh, wait. You only have 1.
Yeah, that's tough. We're going to have an all SEC matchup at some point in there as well with LSU and Arkansas. I think that's the
first
final game because this all kicks off on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And
no, Friday.
Friday?
Friday it starts.
Yep.
The schedule just came out.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was finalized light last night.
Right.
Arizona Coastal at 1 o'clock Central on Friday on ESPN. Louisville, Oregon State is the nightcap at 6. And Murray State, UCLA on Saturday at 1. And then LSU, Arkansas is the nightcap Saturday night.
Okay.
So, pretty good games there.
Yeah, pretty good stretch there. Can't complain with that. I think we're all pulling for Murray State. I'm pulling for them.
Also, nerd stat.
Yeah.
This is the first time since 1957 that we don't have a repeat team in the College World Series from last season.
See, I like that. Fresh faces a little bit here, and I'm going to be curious to see if that continues, that trend continues moving forward. Because now, in the world of the house settlement and the transfer portal still doing what it does and NIL still a thing, I'm curious if we're going to see something like that. If we're going to see new teams in there year in and year out, or if we're going to get the mix of those strong traditional programs that have used the funds and the transfer portal to their liking and have built super teams, essentially. I wonder if that's going to be the trend. We're going to see the same teams in the College World Series year in and year out. I think that's one of the unknowns that we just don't know for sure moving forward. And that goes into another conversation with the house settlement and stuff, and I kind of want to dig into that a little bit in just a couple of minutes here on this Tuesday morning while we get ready to wrap things up. I know we had the full show yesterday to explain it, but I kind of want to dig into that a little bit. So I tell you what, we'll take a break here. Congratulations to Murray State on the win against Duke in dramatic fashion, overcoming the interference call and Duke getting a second chance, but they were able to get the win. Let's take a break here. When we come back, I've popped across a couple of things that we're noticing from the aftermath of this house settlement deal. So we'll talk about that a little bit when we come back here on this Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic. All right, wrapping up this Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, streaming on Inform.com, also on KSFL TV in Sioux Falls and KNBN in Rapid City. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo. Thanks for sticking around with us here on a little bit of a hectic morning here at the station. Big thank you once again to Terry Horan for joining us from Concordia, talking a little Cobbers football as they get ready for their first ever night game as well coming up in September. Really looking forward to that. That should be a fun one. Corn Fest again earlier in the day on September 6th over there as well. I do want to say a big thank you to Spencer Waege for joining us earlier this morning. He decided to retire from the game of football, and now he's going to get back into the farming life a little bit and just see where life takes him. And a fantastic career it was. So best of luck to him moving forward. And also want to say a thank you to Kenna Curry for joining us this morning as well. UND, a thrower for UND, getting ready for the national championships in Eugene, Oregon. She'll compete in the hammer throw on Thursday. Okay, I mentioned this at the top of the show. We got about 10 minutes here. Not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I thought this was interesting because one of the questions that still remained yesterday after the guys broke down what this house settlement means and what's going to go into it and what's going to change, who's going to change, what have you. One of the questions was, what does this mean for collectives? And I think, at least for me, I think we have a clearer look at what collectives can do for a program in this new world of the house settlement. I stumbled across this yesterday, and guys, if you want to pull it up, feel free. Texas Tech has said that their fundraising arm, their collective, if you will, the Red Raider Club, they're going to be responsible for generating $14 million annually to help fund the revenue sharing model. Of course, that is the 20.5 that is given through the house settlement to pay the athletes at Texas Tech. So when you add everything up here, Texas Tech is going to pay all of its players $55 million with revenue sharing plus NIL through that collective among all of its programs. So that's going to make Texas Tech as potentially, most likely, the highest paying college athletics program in the country. And I don't think there's any two ways about it, because they have that ability through that collective to fundraise that kind of money and spread the love around like that. So Texas Tech, that's a school that could be thriving through all of this, which I think would be interesting. I mean, Texas Tech, it's a household university, but it's not the powerhouse, if you will. Maybe this will change things around. And they have a good alumni base. It's a rich area down there as well. $55 million that they're going to be given to their athletes spread out. It's not just for football. But you also look at this on a little deeper level as well. They picked up some FCS powerhouses, some horses over this last year in the transfer portal. They got UIW wide receiver and Roy Alexander, Illinois State offensive lineman Hunter Zambrano, and then, of course, North Dakota State's Cole Wisniewski, who is a safety, and upon last check has been pretty solid down there, making a run. Got to imagine they're going to be getting paid at some point, don't you think? I would think so. Congratulations to those guys. Texas Tech, I think we're going to be seeing some more of that stuff. And I was also doing some more reading onto this, and I think I'm going to leave this off for Dom to discuss more if he so chooses. And maybe it's not even a thing, because that's what some of this stuff is. I feel, is it worth mentioning? Do people care? There's that debate all the time. There is a thing called the SCORE Act. Good luck Googling that, because you're only going to look up SCORE ACTs, I found out. But there is a thing called the SCORE Act that is now being lobbied, and the purpose is it to try to find some ground, some federal support for what's been happening through the House settlement. So I'm sure that will be a topic of conversation. Just to put that on your radar a little bit, that could be a topic of conversation down the road with that SCORE Act coming up. And I also saw, which I thought was so interesting, because I play video games every once in a while. I loved the revamping of the college football video game, and I don't think we've touched on it in this show, but for those that play the EA NCAA college football game, and NCAA 26 is going to come out here in a couple of weeks. I believe July 10th is what it is. From what it sounds like is that universities will now be paid in royalties depending on if their team is played with a lot in the video game. Does that make sense? They're going to get name, image, likeness money through the video game. And it depends on how much users are playing with a team. So say because NDSU isn't on it, say if I pop on there and play with Minnesota and however many so people do, I guess that money's going to the athletes. Interesting. I've never heard of a video game paying out players. It's so weird to see where things have gone over the last couple of years. And Spencer Waege mentioned it. It has changed. It has changed so much, even since he graduated in 2022. Things are different. There are no doubt about that. I believe July 10th, by the way, is when this video game comes out. For all of those that are very curious about it. Interesting. A couple other things I wanted to touch on before we wrap up the show here, just a couple of minutes. U.S. Open is coming up here in just a couple of days, and I've seen so much on it that the rough is unplayable at Oakmont Country Club. That's where the U.S. Open is going to be played. So what they did was had the grounds crew out, and they had them mow the thing, trim up the place, make it a little bit easier to play. I don't know. Obviously, I think it comes from a lot of people complaining about it, about how deep it was. If you follow golf at all and you follow social media, you found that you drop a ball in the rough at Oakmont, you're not going to find that thing unless there's a million people standing next to it just so happen to either get hit by it or watched it come down. I don't know. I don't want him to mow the rough. I want the U.S. Open to be a little bit of a bloodbath. I want to see double bogeys, triple bogeys. I want to see a winning score of +6, what have you. But they're mowing the grass at Oakmont. We'll talk more about the U.S. Open throughout the week. No doubt about that. We only got a couple of minutes left in the show. Eric, you got some breaking news for us? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it sounds like our suspicions were right. Simeon Woods Richardson's probably going to pitch tonight for the Twins. He just got recalled, and Travis Adams got optioned down.
Okay, there's the breaking news. We now have our answer. Simeon Woods Richardson is going to get the start tonight for the Minnesota Twins.
Still undecided on the thing, but
okay,
all transactions point to him pitching tonight.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Well, let's transition into our what to watch then for tonight as well, and then we'll get out of here on this Tuesday morning. What to watch? All right, here's what's cooking tonight. And, of course, we got some other things cooking on that are not on this list as well. Rangers Twins, after the breaking news, we now know that it's going to be Simeon Woods Richardson. Isn't Lopez dealing with an injury as well? So we're going to have Corey Provis on Friday. We'll get his thoughts on everything that's going on with the Twins pitching staff. That's been the big question as of right now. In the WNBA tonight, you got the Sky versus the Liberty, 7 o'clock start time on ESPN. Should also mention that the Twins playing 6:30 on Twins TV. And then later on tonight, this should be a good game as well. Once you're done, or if you're flipping in between the commercials, you got Yankees and Royals on TBS at 6:30. Should be a great game over there, too. And I also want to mention it, best of luck to the Moorhead Spuds lacrosse team. They're hitting the road today. They had a send-off. They had a big gathering yesterday, a send-off today as well. They play at 1 o'clock today in Eden Prairie. They got Stillwater, the number 2 seed. Spuds are the 7 seed. So best of luck to Moorhead as well, and baseball heading down to the state tournament. I think they had a big send-off today as well over at the high school. All right. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday morning. A little hectic one. We got through it. We're good. We're good to go. Dom will be back here expected tomorrow. He should be here on Thursday as well. I'll be back in on Friday as Dom goes off for some vacation. Thanks to all the guests for joining us on this Tuesday morning. Terry Horan, Spencer Waege, Kenna Curry, best of luck to them. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Dom's back tomorrow on Hot Mic.